several months ago, Donald Trump met with Kim Jong-un in a summit meeting in order to discuss denuclearizing North Korea and possibly bettering relations between the United States and North Korea. But it turns out that several months later, after Trump had agreed to stop doing joint military exercises with South Korea because he considered them provocative, he has decided to continue doing those joint military exercises because North Korea hasn't actually denuclearized. North Korea hasn't actually done anything, which is what we predicted would happen. And so as a result, Defense Secretary Jim Mattis, during a press conference, addressed this and essentially said, yeah, that suspension lifted. Take a look.
As you know, we took the step to suspend several of the largest exercises as a good faith measure coming out of the Singapore summit. We have no plans at this time to suspend any more exercises. We will work very closely, as I said, with the Secretary of State, and what he needs done, we will certainly do to reinforce his effort. But at this time, there is no discussion about further suspensions.
So I want to also correct myself because I made one small error in the intro to the story. So North Korea did send back some remains of American soldiers that they had essentially kept. So that's one thing that they did. But they're still moving forward with their nuclear weapons development. There is documentation proving that. And so it was clear to me because Trump had a bargaining chip, and that bargaining chip included the joint military exercises. But all it took was one meeting where an individual said complimentary things to Trump, and he's immediately regurgitating North Korean propaganda talking points. And one of those talking points was that these joint military exercises were provocative. So Cenk, before you jump in, I just want to refresh everyone's memory about the propaganda tour that Trump went on immediately after meeting with Kim Jong-un.
Suggested, and I want to do, is we're going to stop the war games.
Flying to South Korea to practice and then drop bombs all over the place and then go back to Guam.
We are going to get out of the war games that cost so much money.
So under the circumstances that we're negotiating a very comprehensive, complete deal, I think it's inappropriate to be having war games.
And I'm doing something that I've wanted to do from the beginning. We stopped playing those war games that cost us a fortune.
The war games are very expensive. We pay for a big majority of them. We fly in bombers from Guam. I know a lot about airplanes. It's very expensive.
Because I think, number one, it's very provocative, and I want to do it, and I think they're very happy about it because it is so provocative.
And I think it's very provocative. It's a very provocative situation.
You know, I wanted to stop the war games. I thought they were very provocative, but I also think they're very expensive.
It really is something that I think they very much appreciated.
And I think it's very provocative, especially, George, since we're getting along.
Oops. So they then followed up and asked Jim Mattis, well, President Trump said over and over again that the war games were very provocative, and you're now doing that again. So are you trying to provoke North Korea? That's an excellent question. Because now normally, no, we're just doing military exercise like we've always done. But the president said it was provocative. So are you trying to provoke them? Then Mattis had to kind of backpedal and say, well, I mean, we're not turning them back on. They've never been turned off.
We're going to see how the negotiations go, and then we'll calculate the future, how we go forward. In the future, how we go forward.
Yeah, he can't answer it because the president's an idiot. And so he does, you know, I don't blame Mattis. What's he supposed to do? Trump put him in an untenable situation. So now let's have fun. In the middle of those clips you saw, now I know a lot about planes. They're expensive. First of all, who says I know a lot about planes? Okay, I'm moving on.
And then follows it with they're expensive as if no one knows that. No one knows that.
No, but you know why he said it? Because remember, he had Trump planes. And as usual, went bankrupt.
Yeah.
He's like, I know casinos, they're very expensive. I know steaks, they're very expensive. And because you bankrupted every company you ever had. That's why you think they're expensive, you moron. So speaking of how stupid he is, I don't know if you guys have heard me say that before. So here are the things that he said about North Korea, other than the videos that we just showed you. There is no longer a nuclear threat from North Korea. Who makes a statement like that? When they hadn't done one single thing to denuclearize. All they had done was compliment your stupid, stupid, childish ass. So they went and they're like, "Oh, Mr. President, you're a very important person." He's like, "Good. There are no more nuclear weapons in North." But there is. At least they're trying to make them, and they didn't denuclearize at all. He also said it will be total denuclearization, which is already starting to take place.
What?
Not remotely true.
Yep.
It was not starting to take place. And of course, there's not total denuclearization. And they said, well, these negotiations, what was the result? Correct answer is, hey, it was a good beginning. You should talk to your enemies, and that's how you get to peace. In which case, we would have been like, hey, Trump, nice work, good start, okay? And we said that before he went, right? So we're on the record. Instead, he comes out and goes, tremendous success.
So, look.
Okay, but like you can say, hey, it's a good beginning, but if you say it's a tremendous success and they don't have nukes anymore, then they have no incentive to actually denuclearize because you already announced to the world that they did. They can just keep going, and then you look like an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, look, he bungled it in so many different ways, and that's what we were talking about on the show at the time of this summit. And people got on us. A lot of progressives got on us because they're like, oh, you want war, you don't want peace, this is a good thing. No, but this is a political issue, a foreign policy issue that's not black and white. It is complicated, and yes, it's a good thing to sit down with your enemies and have a conversation, a negotiation about how to move forward in order to accomplish a peaceful agreement. Trump is incapable of that. So when that summit took place, yeah, we criticized him because he was like, oh, here's my bargaining chip, I give you. Okay. I give you bargaining chip. No, but you hold on to the bargaining chip and make sure that you have verification, you have a timeline, you have some indication, some proof that they're actually gonna denuclearize. And then you talk about what you're gonna give them in return, including suspending the so-called war games. By the way, I don't really care about whether or not we do war games, but if it's a bargaining chip, then yes, let's use that to our advantage. He didn't do that. He gave everything away immediately, and North Korea did nothing. They continued developing nuclear weapons.
I will end on 3 goofy points.
Okay.
Okay, number 1, I would love to play poker with Donald Trump. Oh my God, Mr. Trump, your hair is so nice. It's glowing nice and orange. Fine, I have a Jack 10 unsuited.
I don't even know what that means, but yes.
Okay, that was easy. Okay, number 2. Now this is super random. I'll get back to Trump in a second. I love the names of these exercises. The one that's gonna happen, but these ones, they're like mediocre, they could be better. The one that's about to happen, because it's back on, is Foal Eagle. Anything with a bird sounds good.
Especially eagle.
Oh, anything with an eagle. Yeah, I don't even know what fall is, and it doesn't sound great, F-O-A-L,
yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But it's got eagle in it, good enough, okay? You could be like mighty dove, and I'm like, yeah, let's do this. Yalla, let's go. The one that was canceled earlier, although now Mattis is having to say, well, nothing was canceled, but it was. It's back on even though it never went off. Anyway, the one that was canceled was Ulchi Freedom Guardian. I don't know what Ulchi is. Maybe it's a Korean word. I don't know, yeah. But it doesn't matter. They could take that out. Okay, we don't speak Korean. Okay, I know they do. Anyway, Freedom Guardians of the Galaxy. Maybe slightly goofy. Yesterday in the postgame, after our gigantic long coverage of the elections, John and I discussed what a blue falcon is. Now, blue falcon sounds pretty cool.
But it's not.
In the postgame, but it's not. It turns out it's military slang for something that is very wrong, okay? If you want to find out what that is, A, you can just Google it in 5 seconds, or you could become a Young Turks member and get that fun postgame from yesterday, tyt.com/join. And then the last thing is, look, should you talk to your enemies? Just to double down on what Anna was saying. Of course, we've been through it 100 times. Now, the question is, what do you get, right? So, should you talk to Iran? Dick Cheney said no. Iran was ready to cooperate with us back right after the 9/11 attacks because they also hate Al-Qaeda. And then later, actually after we invaded Iraq, in a surprising move, this is a rare moment where the neoconservative movement had a chance at working. Iran did get a little spooked and was like, okay, maybe we talk to you about, some of the things you want. And Dick Cheney's like, we don't talk to evil.
So stupid.
So dumb. Okay, on the other hand, so Obama goes to talk to Iran. They get a good deal. We actually do denuclearize Iran. They just had energy programs. They didn't have weapons programs. But great, fantastic. Let's take away any potential for nuclear weapons. Now, if Trump had gone to Iran, we would have said, good, I'm glad he's going to Iran. But what if he came out of the negotiations and said, it's a tremendous success. We gave them San Antonio, but still, it's wonderful. You're like, I wanted you to talk to them. I didn't want you to give up a US city.
No, but
isn't that, how obvious is that? It depends on the goddamn deal. How obvious is it?
If the situation with North Korea wasn't enough evidence to prove that Trump is a horrible negotiator, just consider what he was really genuinely thinking about doing for Vladimir Putin after the Helsinki summit. Remember? Putin wanted to do the shakedown of US officials. And Trump was like, oh no, it sounds like a good deal. What?
So if you think that Trump is not corrupt, then you've got to think he's the worst negotiator ever. Because Putin's like, hey, why don't you hand over your former US ambassador for me to interrogate and a couple other people, and you might never see them again. But in return, I will let you talk to our agents, our spies, who of course will give you nothing in return.
Right.
And I will help you with your investigation of me. Come on. Any rational person with just like an IQ of 49 or higher would go, wait, you're gonna help my investigation of you, and the way that you're gonna do that is I'm gonna give you all the documents in that investigation of you. You'd laugh the guy out of the room. Trump's like, that is a very good deal. I'm very interested in that deal. Iran would just have to be like, hey, Donald, you want a ham sandwich? I mean, we're Muslims, we're against ham, but I'll give you a ham sandwich, but throw in Seattle too. It's like, oh, deal. I go, oh, you guys will never believe this. I got a ham sandwich. I did. I gave up San Antonio and Seattle.
All right, let me sign the paperwork before you make me that sandwich, though.
Yeah. Turns out I didn't get it. Okay, but still, I'm thinking about getting a Nobel Peace Prize.
Disaster.
How's that coming along?
Like this video? That's great. And you never have to miss another episode of TYT by hitting the subscribe button below. And ring the bell to get notified whenever we publish a new video.